Hey guys, Dark here. I wanted to talk to you about the Ultimate-Cup, which was in America already, which will be in Europe in about a week, and many more to come. This video will be about what to expect on those events, how the events will evolve over the time, the defining metagame, and how to play against these decks and what to actually expect from these decks. This will be a general video since I am not versed in every deck. I can't tell you how to play against each matchup, but I will try my best to keep it in general and hope you can apply it for your decks and for your playstyle. So we saw in America there was a lot of blue hybrid, which is probably the best deck, or at least the most popular deck in the format right now. Its ability to stun lock the enemy with like close to no effort, and even accelerating their own gameplay by having Sora Joe and stunning your board and gaining memory of your own Digimon while your Digimon can't do anything is really hard. And it almost plays itself. Of course, you have to think about what steps to do in mirror matches especially. So there's really a high ceiling for this deck, in my opinion. Whereas other people say it's boring and it's always flowcharty, but I don't think it is actually flowcharty. It is really versatile and can adapt to situations, and sometimes instead of rushing you down, they grind you down, and that's really hard. So there are different versions of these decks. So there you have like the most popular one, the classic stun deck right now. There are versions with Magna Garurumon, and what most of these decks have in common, they play the top end finisher in Azulongmon. Azulongmon just fits right in there and go for this big swing, checking 4 security or 5 in one go and going for hybrid for game. And on paper it seems like there is no counterplay, but there actually is. So depending on the game state, there are things you want to do and not to do. So if they have Sora Joe in play, you obviously want to avoid having your Digimons out with no Digisources. And if they get stripped down, you evolve up or you sack them in security. I know there's the danger of hitting Hammerspark and it not dying, or it won't die because of the DP threshold, but it's a risk you have to take. Also, hitting a Tamer might feel really bad at first, but if it's not Sora Joe, it might be fine, because if they have Davis set up already, you can just go in for it. If they don't have Davis set up and you hit him, it's really bad, but you have to win somehow. So, and going for one big swing, like checking 4 or 5 security in one go, might be a good idea, but if you in one turn check several Tamers, or worse, check Hammerspark and pass turn while you are trying to go for a game, and you have unprotected Digimons outside, they will stun you forever. If you have something in erasing, that's a really good play to do, but if you don't, they will stun your board and capitalize off that, because you can't win in return, either if you don't have a hybrid or something else to deliver the final blow. They will kill you in the backswing because you gave them so much advantage. Of course, only if the security plays with them, but in today's meta there are so many Tamers and options like Hammerspark and Ice Wall that will most likely hit at least 1 or 2 things in the security, which will be beneficial for your opponent, so be aware of that. Another problematic thing, or thing you have to be mindful of, they have Beowulfmon, so don't leave your 4s out like nothing. Evolve up to 5 if you can and leave it there, and if they strip your sources from there, you go to a 6, so you actively trying to deny them their Sora Joe memory whilst maintaining board without going too big. It's kinda hard, and there's a reason why this deck is so popular and strong, because you have to be aware of so much. But if you do it properly, they can't just steamroll you. And it's hard, but blue is not overpowered, and you can actually, there's actually counterplay, and there are actually decks which counter blue, but they, in order to do that, get countered by other decks, and so they keep themselves in check, and blue prevails because blue is like so popular. And even the counter matchup, blue can win by doing blue things. Talking about the counter matchup and the next deck, which you probably know what I'm talking about, is Yellow Hybrid. So Yellow Hybrid keeps blue in check by having purple Kari actually, because it reduces the memory cost, it reduces the amount of swings they can fit in, and you're draining their memory. So if they can just swing once a turn or twice, that's good for you, since you will recover forever. And another bane of blue is Dynasmon. So blue does not have removal. The only removal they have is Susanomon, or if they play Magna Garurumon, Magna Garurumon. But blue gets countered by Dynasmon so hard. If you have one Dynasmon out and they stun him forever, they can do that. They get memory for that forever, but Dynasmon will slowly but surely grind them out, because you will just, as a yellow player, yellow-purple player, you will just clear them out every time. The only thing you have to be aware of as a yellow player is that a Zulongmon is still a threat, so just keep one Dynasmon out, or is like the best play to prevent them from checking 5 or 6 in one turn, so don't go wide as a yellow player. And Jet Sylphimon is, I mean, you go for your hybrids, like Kazemon, Jet Sylphimon, and then you go in Dynasmon. That's a really good thing already. Just set up your defensive early and keep the board clear. They can place as many tamers as they want, but you will outgrind them and slowly kill them because you recover and they don't. So the thing about Yellow Hybrid is they are a slow deck, I guess, but their defenses are quite strong, because Jet Sylphimon recovers 1 for like 3 memory if you set up a tamer, and you can look in your security and play from there. They have really strong removal, but they lack removal in the upper regions like level 6 and 7s. They usually use their Digitama like Shaomon for that, but if you happen to pop your Susanomon, the only thing Yellow can do to stop it is popping their own Susanomon or Wyvern's Breath in the security. But Yellow can still handle that, because they will just outgrind the opponent with their resources, and TK Kari is one of the best things to do. So Yellow, the opponent of Yellow has to be mindful when to swing, but you are not allowed to be too afraid to swing, since they still have to commit memory to recover, and you just set up your board so you swing a lot in one go. If you can do it while be immune to Schwarz-Lehrsatz, it will be great, but just be mindful not to be too defensive, because you will lose the grind game. They won't deck out because they will most likely play Susanomon. They can fetch it from security even, and just don't recover when they use TK. That's the risk they will do, and they will take to not deck out, so you will deck out before them. And they don't digivolve that much, so you naturally draw more than they do. The only thing is, Dynasmon accelerates the rate where they deck out really fast because of his first effect. The Digivolving effect is really strong for that, but a lot of players tend to not use the Digivolving effect, since you can take Susanomon, and if Susanomon gets trashed due to the Dynasmon effect, it's gone forever. So be mindful of that. So what to do against Yellow? You just set up your own stuff, your own board, and if they recover with Jet Sylphimon, You just have to keep the security count the same until your big swing turn. After the big swing turn, they will have a lot of memory depending on how many TK and Kari they have set up, but they have to recover from that and clear your board at the same time. And if you still have fuel left or gas, you can just keep going and they will slowly die. They try to whittle you down beforehand, but just don't be reckless and be mindful of each swing and what can and what will trip you over, because the most, in today's meta, the most hated card probably is, except Tommy, is Schwarz Leersatz, so be mindful of that and just don't fill the board with rookies and go from there. Be mindful of how you swing, since hybrids will be immune to Schwarz Leersatz, and of course always keep count of the tamers and hybrids they have. If it's really early in the game and they have just 1 or 2 tamers set up and none of them is TK Kari, just go for the security, just wail. And if it's Schwarz Leersatz, okay, you triggered it once already, so there's one less Schwarz Leersatz to play against, and you riddled down the security. And if they go from TK Kari from there, you just have to be mindful to be aggressive or try to match their security with yours by baiting attacks, by creating false pressure, by evolving a big Digimon so they think, okay, they have to go now. Just be mindful of what they used and what you can do. The best matchup against yellow is probably Jerumon. Every version of Jerumon, yellow, purple, but purple is probably the better one for yellow hybrid, because they don't care about it. They don't care about the level 3s. If they die, they die. They will just come back with Jerumon. And like I said before, they don't have that big removal for the big Digimon. And if your Rahimon or something dies in security, he will just give you reoccurring value, which yellow does not have. Yellow's resources are actually limited, or they are really good, they're really efficient, but they're still limited. And if they have to use or waste them one by one for one Digimon, like in purple matchup, they will slowly lose and purple will just wail them down, since they can't handle, I don't even know why, but Jerumon versus yellow feels so good for Jerumon, since Jerumon himself or herself in the decks can also recover. And if you play a similar version than I do, Dynasmon won't be a problem, since you just pop him with Lucemon Fall Down Chaos Mode, and they will be forced to play Schwarz Leersatz to get rid of him, since he's a 12k beat stick, pretty strong, and you can just recycle him from the trash again. And that's where yellow lacks. Yellow has no reoccurring value for the cards except Susanomon, but if they pull Susanomon early, they don't have their hybrids there under the deck. If they pull Susanomon late, well, then they pull Susanomon late, and you have like 1 or 2 turns left to kill them, and you don't have to worry about the hybrids since they're in the deck, so be mindful of that. I talked about Jerumon right now, but next deck I want to address is not Jerumon, but Green Hybrid. So I am not sure how popular Green Hybrid will be, since it's a long tournament. I mean, they will, in my estimation, they will probably be mostly blue, then yellow, then green, green, red, red, like in those corridors. They like all of those decks, and below that will probably be purple in many different versions. Maybe it's the same. They're like many purple decks, but I try to address them generally, so I talk about Green Hybrid now. And when I talk about Green Hybrid, I actually mean the combination of green and red, so Christmas. Christmas is an interesting deck. So the strength of Christmas is that they can go into their big Digimon, like Ancient Beetlemon, efficient and very cheap. So you go JP, go from 1 in Beetlemon, and then 1 more for Rhino, and then you swing, and then you go in Ancient Beetle for 3. So you need 2 memory to do your big pop-off turn already. So, and if they have a Pokemon which is common, or Syakomon or Betamon or whatever, those pesky rookies, which is really common, you can just go Metal Kabuterimon, suspend one of these, go Rhino from there, Ancient Beetle there, and even pierce through, so you even have more value. So green, like, or Christmas, controls the board, controls the Digimon instead of the board, sorry, and just tries to trash and destroy your security one by one. By mixing it up with red, they have access to Atomic Inferno, which applies to every hybrid Digimon. So your ancient Beetlemon or ancient Troymon or your hybrid in general will have security +1. So if you do your pop-off turn and have 1 spare memory, you just go Metal Kabuterimon, activate your Atomic Inferno, go Rhino, go Ancient Beetlemon, attack the suspended Pokemon or whatever, so your opponent has to trash 1 security, and you have a double check, so you destroy 2 securities, so like 3 securities in one swing, and you have your big Digimon still on board, which is also floating into another hybrid, so you generate a lot of pressure from there. You are it's mandatory for your deck to function, to have your opponent play stuff. If they don't, you can't have access to Ancient Beetlemon's effect. So you go to Ancient Troymon, but Ancient Troymon only works if they have a board. If they swing with hybrids 1 by 1, Ancient Troymon's effect won't matter to you. It won't matter as well. And blue of course keeps green in check by stripping the JP from the sources and whatnot. So the piercing is gone, stunning the ancient Beetlemon on board or stunning the ancient Troymon on board, and you're hopeless. So the best way to play against green is be mindful of what they pick with their search and what they put down. So if they go to Pokemon and they pick Beetlemon and you see there's a Metal Kabuterimon, you can either access, okay, they have Metal Kabuterimon in hand, or they are missing another piece. So be aware of that, to not just play your Pokemon there and get run over by the Metal Kabuterimon in hand already. So be mindful of that. Look at what they search up and try to anticipate their game state while preserving your own, because you can just still set up your table and go for chip damage 1 by 1. A big flaw in green is the security sucks. There's like nothing in there. You hit a tamer, whatever, they have probably a tamer set up, because the tamers on play do nothing. What could be there, which will be trouble for you, is if you hit Atomic Inferno, but then they need a Digimon on board. They don't get DP+, so they might die in your security. That's like Atomic Inferno, and if they play Gaia Force, it's like probably the worst thing you can hit, but other than that, you can just wail at the security and hope for the best, because green security is too fair, I guess. And blue has a very good matchup against green, so you don't. And if we expect a lot of blue, then there won't be a lot of green, won't be a lot of Christmas. So Christmas will be late. So we talked about Christmas, and now we go to red hybrid. I am honest with you, I don't think and I don't expect a lot of red hybrid, but there will be a red hybrid since it's an online tournament and it can be taxing and it will be quite long. A lot of people will be like, I just play red hybrid, I try to go for the win fast, or I will just lose. So that's the state of the game, that's the reality. They just want to play their games quickly and don't want to have grind games like yellow versus yellow and yellow versus blue. So they just go for red, and probably most red hybrids will go with Ancient Greymon. So they try to build the Ancient Greymon combo by first turn evolving into Flamemon and evolving into Promo Agunimon, and then they will just, whatever you do, they don't even care what you do. They will just pull out the Agunimon, swing Agunimon, go into Ancient Greymon. If they have Analog Boy set or not, they can do extended play, but they will mostly just try to go for the combo and go for 3 or 4 checks from there and drop another hybrid and try to apply pressure from there. Their first turn, their first swing will be very explosive. There will be a lot happening, but after the first blow, if you can keep them in check, they won't have much gas left. So you just go from there after they pulled the trigger. It's not like, it's the same thing when I said with green, but a little bit more specific actually, since their combo pieces with Ancient Greymon is they need specifically that Agunimon and specifically Ancient Greymon. And yeah, so an Ancient Greymon is a 10 warrior, so Bokumon can fetch him, but I think Flamemon can't. Flamemon can just pick hybrids and Takuya, so I think Flamemon can't fetch Ancient Greymon, so this is bad. And the worst will probably be if they have the Ancient Greymon combo, swing, and the Flamemon will play them with Takuya for free, and it will be floating into another hybrid. Then they will have created a lot of pressure, but that's like almost relatable to Jespon. So they need their specific pieces. If they don't, they just they are not really threatening. So that's what the counterplay to red is. Pray that red does not find their combo, which they won't most of the time, but sometimes they do. So it might be frustrating from there, but you just have to accept it. So continuing to my favorite color, as you know, purple. These two. So purple has a lot of decks. So there's Cherumon yellow base, Cherumon purple base, Icemon Lilith Loop Rush. A lot of Icemon decks, Okumon Rush, and what was else? Some crazy Titamon ice list, but I don't want to pretend that I know those. I'm not very versed with Okumon Rush and Titamon, but I tried to do my best to talk about purple in general. So, purple Lilith Loop Rush, which utilizes Cerberus mode, Analog Boy, Werewolf mode, Cerberusmon Werewolf mode, is really fast. If they open first turn Gabumon into scatter mode, and in their next turn they swing and Icemon actually dies, and they drop like 1 or 2 or even 3 Icemon, which is actually possible, you are in deep trouble, since today's meta is like setting up tamers and stuff and trying to pop off in the mid-game-ish, but this deck wants to prevent you from having the time to set up. So they would just go Icemon here, go if they can and have and want to, they will go promote on top of the Icemon for 1 and keep swinging. They will just keep wailing at your security until you're dead. And if this does not work, their plan B is Lilithmon and trying to loop, and by trying I mean they loop because Icemon fails to trash real fast. So Jackweight is a thing. Omnimon's Ward is still a thing, but some lists play him, some don't, because he actually takes a lot of tempo out. So Lilithmon and Calling from the Darkness, is enough to just keep waiting at the security. The big flaw in this deck, like, it's not a flaw, like it's a drawback, and you have to think about it. You need both pieces for it to work. You need Icemon, Scatter Mode in trash, and Icemon in hand, and a way to trash your Icemon from the hand, which is not that hard and not difficult to do, but sometimes you lack a way to drop the Icemon from the hand, and it's actually the thing. But if this deck pops off, it can just ruin your day, since it will be so fast, and it's a good thing against blue, since you will evolve Cerberus mode you will evolve Werewolf Cerberusmon, the normal one, on top of Icemon, and just pass turn from there, and they will do the thrashing of the sources and whatever. But you will just play Werewolf mode to delete it and have an extra swing, so that's not too bad for you. They try and will counter it by playing Modoki Betamon and or other memory blockers, but the thing is, they will have to spend resources to do it, and it can be just deleted by a simple Deathclaw, which they can opt into by keeping it in hand, because Icemon and Gabumon will give you so much draw power. So most likely they will have Deathclaws or Deathclaw in hand to get rid of them and to go to Werewolf mode from there. But the counter to this deck is just hope they don't get Icemon, but just continue your own game plan, since if you give them too much time, they will Lilith loop you, and you probably won't recover from there. But they lack defensive options, so they are all gas. So if you match their speed, or even are faster than them, they will lose, since they have a small removal. But in hybrid meta, you don't really care, since you just go with level 4s from the Tamer region. And if you can memory choke them, it will be really terrible, since they don't want to play Met for 4, but they have to, because their plays require Jack Ray to be played, or to have at least 2 memory to go off. But it's actually a really scary deck, and I don't think it is that popular in America, but in Europe especially, you should be at least aware of the deck, not be aware of the deck. It's like Icemon Hyrule, but if they don't find it, their plays will be slow, but they can still pop off in the middle of the game, so don't count them out. They have crazy ways to get like 4 swings in out of nowhere, out of one Icemon. Now we'll be talking about Purple Hybrid. Purple Hybrid Kyuremon has a lot of versions, like yellow version, purple version, like I told you about. In America, yellow version is super popular, which utilizes Salamon. I don't think they use yellow Usemon. I'm not sure about that. They use Salamon, so their basic game plan with the yellow package is they stall you out with Cutemon, so your hybrid evolutions will be more expensive, and recover with Salamons on deletion skills. So if you're like at 3 security, will just slowly recover up and hope you're out of gas. They try to grind you down or remove your board with Schwarzleersatz and such. They play purple Karis and purple Mimi, 1 or 2. One is to prevent Hammerspark from being a thing, and making Schwarzleersatz less expensive is always good. The flaw in that deck is you can't fill your trash really quick, so your Kyuremon pop-off will take more time. You will sometimes get that time by playing the yellow base, of course, but it's hard to fill the trash with the things you need since Squeegee is one way to discard your cards, and Analog Boy. Some lists don't even utilize Analog Boy, so I myself am not the biggest fan of the yellow base. I prefer purple, but I played the yellow base as well, and I know the strength. They can even go Blinding Ray, trigger their own Coris, and have this huge memory swing turn. But it depends on I think it's the play style. And Salamon, if you're hoping for Salamon to die in security, always that's like to recover. Like it's a play of chance. If it does not die, you might find yourself in danger and in trouble. Especially if you're facing blue, they will just stun Salamon on board, and yes, you can just say, yeah, okay, I will just use Deathclaw to get rid of Salamon and probably take something with me, but you have to spend a Deathclaw for that, and you can recover the Deathclaw with your purple mat again, but then you have to get mat in play. It's the most efficient way is to use Kirumon for that, to get him from the trash. But then again, we have the trash setup thing. It's not that easy for you to fill the trash. And if you trashed it from your hand, and then you're like, I actually need him, till you like to play him. So that's the thing about the yellow base. You have to be really focused. It's really taxing. And you have to plan multiple steps ahead of the current board state, and you are not allowed to be choked. So purple mat is actually one of your best things to recover from the trash with Kurumon, but it also enables your play to get into Kurumon. So having him already will be a huge help. So there's that. So how do you play against Kurumon? Purple is be fast. Purple, if it's a purple base, just be fast. Choke them if you can. Just play aggressively and check their security. If they don't have the trash set up, like if they don't have Loosemon and trash, like a small yellow one, and trash they can't recover. And Kirumon costs 4 for them to play, so they most likely will pass turn. And if you have something in raising or tamer set up, you can just keep going from there. Be aware of what there is in their trash, and if you are actually in danger of getting lethal. So in purple base, just be fast. Just wail at their security, pray for the best. The security is not too bad. What can be there, like Schwarz Letters can be there, which is most likely the best thing. Maybe DOA if they have big Loosemon, which can be trouble, but purple hybrid needs setup. And if you don't give them the time for the setup, you just kill them before they do anything. They will just, if they have the setup, they will grind you down, slowly recover up while killing you, or they will explosively killing you by popping Kirubimon, having 2 hybrids, having a Bokumon, and do purple things. They just generate swings from nowhere, which can't be interrupted by blue, so that's good from there. So if they stun Kirumon, you just Deathclaw it or whatever. If they don't, you wail it, secure it with the Kirumon and Deathclaw either way. So you go from there. So be purple, just be fast. Yellow base, be fast but be mindful. What do they have in raising? Where's their Salamon? And how many securities do they have left? Sometimes, and with sometimes I mean a lot of times, they will put the Salamon in raising and wait till you drop them down to 3 or below. So if you see they're waiting, just try to make a turn where you hit for more than 1 damage, hit for 2 or 3 damage. They will pull your Salamon out, swing in security. If it does not die, they are in trouble. If they don't have Deathclaw, they're in deep trouble. So just beware of that. So that's it. This is what I think about BT7 meta right now, and what will be popular in the Ultimate Cup and what will be played. I still think there will be a lot of blue, a lot of yellow hybrids, and then everything else. Maybe more purple than I gave credit, and maybe a lot of decks that I disregarded. But either way, I tried to tell you how to play against them, at least how I play against them from personal experience. I can't tell you if it works for you, but I just wanted to share my experience with you since I love this game and I play it very much. Thank you so much for sticking to the very end of the video. If you have any question or something like that, just feel free to ask me, and I hope to see you in the next video.